Jack Sparrow dance. See? My Jack Sparrow hands. All right, welcome everybody to the Aquarius Tangent. In true form and fashion, we've literally decided what we're going to talk about 2 seconds ago, and it's the sense of not belonging. So this came up for me recently, slash, I feel like it's the theme of my life, where I've always, like, anywhere that I've lived, I've never quite felt like I belong or fit in. Now, to be clear, this isn't like a depression thing or like a mental health issue. I just genuinely have felt like I'm always like, I'm of this planet, but I'm not of the planet. I feel like I somehow got dropped off here. And I'm kind of going like, what am I fucking doing on this planet?
I would like to fervently agree with you there and say exactly the same feeling here. I know I don't belong here. I know I'm not of this realm. I know I'm of an alternative realm. Rah. There's loads of explanations of that. I mean, particularly in what I've learned about myself in through my own self-discovery, but also in talking to other people that are adept at like Akashic records and, you know, shamanic journey and soul journeying and stuff like that. And I think we've talked about in previous episodes, and we might, you know, go into a bit more detail about that later on, but certainly this feeling of not belonging. And it's not like I don't fit into societal norms. It's not that simple. It's that I know I'm not meant for this place. This world is not
Yeah.
to inhabit. And it's a sense of a continual a jarring every single day. And I will say this to you before we even fucking begin. What is hilarious, Aquarius, gregarious about this is that, what other words rhyme with Aquarius? Hilarious, gregarious. There's probably more. Tell us in the comments what else rhymes with Aquarius. Is that fae folk are, in my experience and to the best of my knowledge from women that I've known who have trodden many magical realms, they will always say that the fae folk are the ones that, and the underworld dwellers are the ones that suffer with this feeling the most, because you live in a such a close dimension to this dimension. So in terms of, like, you know, if we're talking about it in, I'm not going to say science because otherwise, but in terms of, you know, some dimensions in space time are so close to us that they're closer to us than the fucking clothes on our skin. But the fae realm is so close in terms of space time to the realm that we are in, that you have got a grounded sense in this world, but also recognize that you are not a participant here.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's exactly it. Since I was, and I'll get into like some of the healing that I had just had recently too, the Arcturian healing, but since I was a kid, I have had like visions of me, like either as a dragon, like I'm talking like the winged, like European dragons, the big winged beast claws, talons, or riding on a dragon. And then I got into my teen years, and lo and behold, I discovered Dragon Riders of Pern. There's a huge series that I absolutely loved, and I was like, oh, like even though it was part science fiction, there's still these elements of fae and fantasy in it that I was like, this feels like what I'm supposed to be. And even when I read Lord of the Rings, I'm like, this feels like this is where I should be living, not here. Like, and I can't explain, you know, it's more so than just let's go play. I play Dungeons and Dragons, but it's more than just the theater of the mind for me. It's like, no, this is where I need to be, not here. Like, it's more than just wouldn't it be cool if I was like a knight and rode a dragon and had a sword? It's more of a like a really guttural, like I feel this pull to go into it and not come back.
And there's a reason that these worlds exist, and that these worlds are let's call them what they are, fantasy worlds. But there's a reason that across the globe at varying different times in history that these varying fantasy worlds have randomly coincided without actual human connection between those worlds, etc., etc. There's a reason that these particular mythological creatures appear on different continents before human contact had been established, and folklore had been established between these different continents and stuff like that. And I think that is where the veil is the thinnest, is what's happened there. And it's like there's a once upon a time element to it. Oh, which is weird. I realized what I said when I said it. There's that once upon a time element to it, which is like Lord of the Rings. I mean, obviously Tolkien set up this entire freaking world history, but it's not so far removed from our current reality that it seems unbelievable. It could actually be, let's say that we entered into some sort of apocalypse, and there was only 10,000, like the last ice age, for example, there's about 10,000 people left on the entire fucking planet. And then, society is rebuilding itself, and somebody finds, Silmarillion and etc., etc., finds the map of Middle Earth. What's to say that they wouldn't actually think, do you know what, sounds legit? Because weirdly, it is so close to reality that it's not that far removed. There's so many elements of truth within that's what I mean about the veil being so thin between those. And with fae folk, I mean, listen, use lot.
Listen, for those of you who haven't seen past episodes, we've already talked about my connection to the fae, which is probably why, again, dragons are part of the fae realm and part of fae. So this probably
I get all funny about, because I'm like, because I think you're a bunch of, I love you, but use lot, bane of my freaking existence. Love you dearly, but I do want to give you a, if I see one of you flying through the air, I'm punching you. In a nice way, love. But come flapping at me, bitch. The connection to nature, the connection to the beauty of everything. It's weird. I don't know why this has suddenly come to me. I think because bluebells are out in my garden right now. It's bluebell season here, and bluebells.
I love bluebells.
Right, and they are glorious. But my nan, in my family, we've got fairy bluebell, right? So, and it's an ongoing thing in my family. We just, if someone says something, and it's like, who told you that? Fairy bluebell. Fairy bluebell told me. Fairy bluebell is a freaking narc, as far as I'm concerned, right? But fairy bluebell knew shit that I literally to this day cannot explain. My nan would say to me, fairy bluebell told me this. And I was like, even now as a grown-up, I cannot fathom. I was like, was she whispering in your bloody ear? I feel like that's probably where my first instinct of getting irritated with fairy comes from. Oh my god, it actually might be. Oh my god, I think I found my initial trigger, my OG trigger. But the thing is yeah, so the veil being that thins between that and your sense of belonging is because you live in a beautiful, magical you live in the realm of what this earth could be, and it's quite,
I think
it's bittersweet. And I love that, but also I think, grow up, fucking narcs.
I need to rewind for a second to go back to a point you just said. If anybody out there who's watching is an artist, please, if you could draw a picture of Lou punching a fairy, I want to hang that on my fridge.
Actually, I need to tell you a funny story. So I might have told you this before. I was at a festival, I was at a music festival once, and I was hanging out with this girl that I barely knew, but she's one of my best friends now. And we went to her tent to have some vodka and cranberry juice. I was like, nom, nommy nom noms, okay. So we were sitting kind of half in her tent, but with our legs out. And then a group of her mates sat and that were sort of surrounding us. We're all sitting chatting. I didn't really know any of these lot. And something this like this wasp just came at me, and bees, I've taught myself how to just be like, ah, no, no, thank you to bees. I don't like them, but I'm not aggressive. I'm loud with bees, just like, lovely, thank you, bye-bye. Wasps, on the other hand, I see this wasp coming at me, and I just went like, just reactive, and it literally, I punched a wasp into a man's eye, and I just went boof, and this guy went like that, and then I don't, because it's awful. It stung him right in the corner of his eye. You couldn't script it, right? And then I had to take him to the St. John's ambulance tent after that, because I felt really bad about it. And then I missed the first song of my favourite band at that festival. I was really pissed off. But I was like, wasn't that like canine reflexes punched a wasp into a man's eye? That's my claim to fame. Don't mess with Louise. She punches wasps into men's eyes.
Okay, well, two things. You would have killed last summer. No, the summer before, walking home. Because where we used to live, I could walk Audrey to and from school, and so I had two bees land on my shoulder here, and he just hung out with they just hung out with me the entire walk, like there and back. They were just like chill. They weren't mean or anything. They just landed on me, and I was like, oh, hey, bud. I love bees. And I'm like, hey, buddies, and they just like hung out, and I was like the pirate with the parrot, except it was like bees, and I was like, people across the street were looking at me because I had like it was, and I was like, hey, what you guys doing?
A buzz, bitch. Did you go?
Your fuzzy little butts.
Did you not shout buzz, buzz, bitch? Buzz, buzz.
I was too enamored with the bees. Secondly, you also said, because we talked about me, the connection to the Fae, how I feel like I don't belong, but you also feel like you don't belong.
Yeah, but
so what's that like on your end?
It's horrible. In a nutshell, it's shit. It's shit. I don't know why I suddenly sound like a farmer. My phone was like, ding ding. My phone agrees with me. I've never felt like I've belonged. I always assumed it's just because I'm a bit peculiar. But then I suppose as I got older and I started to recognize the difference in me versus, just the difference in what other people are drawn to versus what I'm drawn to. And something that we've often gone back to, and something I was talking about earlier on actually, is the fact that I always identified with the antagonist in films versus the protagonist.
When you said Once Upon a Time, I was like, oh, hey, Regina.
Yeah, and historically, all Disney villains. I've always felt like the empathy towards the Disney villain, thinking, yeah, but there's more to it than you know. That was always my thought as a child. It's like, yeah, but they just don't get it. They just don't get it. That's why I identify. And then obviously in recent years with origin stories of villains coming out, and I'm like, fucking knew it. I'm sitting there going, this is what I felt like as a child. I'm like, finally, their story's being told. And then, as I got older and I started to learn more about my own soul journey from my own investigation, but also speaking to not the bullshitters, but like, genuinely insightful, really wise women who have told me that, I mean, my friend Ellen, for one, who is a shamanic priestess, and she's like, oh, you're a psychopomp. I was like, well, thank you very much. What the fuck is a psychopomp? And she was like, you are somebody, or your soul journey, you're somebody that helps people transition from one realm into another, like mythologically from life into death. And I've always had this huge affiliation with Anubis and Maya in terms of, you know, Egyptian deities who are obviously underworld, Persephone, yada yada yada. And I've always had a real I can't even explain it. It's not even like a strong draw. It's like an absolute knowing that I belong elsewhere. I belong elsewhere, which isn't necessarily a beautiful, pretty place. It's actually quite an unpleasant place, but I'm somebody that can help you be in this unpleasant place. I've only recently really recognized that that's a gift. You know, that's not like me trying to drag you to hell. That's me trying to say, when you're in your darkest moments, here I am to support you and guide you within that, and help you recognize that this is a necessary part of your journey, and it's not horrible or ugly or disgusting or disturbing or anything like that. It might not be all like fucking sunshines and lollipops, but it is absolutely necessary. But it doesn't have to be scary and everything else. And then I was told that I much like a cat, I believe, I don't live in one place or another. I dwell in the in between, and that's how I feel now. Is like, you know, the way that I refer to things has always been here, there, upstairs, next door. You know, I almost like we're in a house. You know, it's like that's how I see it. But I don't live in one room. It's like I live between the rooms. I live in the corridors and the hallways. And I didn't really understand the fact that I can access both, but I belong to neither, you know? And so I walk between the two, and I genuinely believe that's what cats do. I don't know why I think this. I don't know where the fuck this has come from, but I feel like that's what cats do, right? Don't quiz me on it, because I can't back it up at all. It's just like a little thought that happened a little while ago, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, I'm having that. So yeah, so I feel like that's what it is, and I feel like, yeah, we all have access to these varying places. And when it comes to our star seeds, particularly, I don't know if you are actually zeroed in on what you're, because I'm Arcturian and I know that to be true, but I'm also a starseed traveler. So you know, I'm very much in my soul journey. I've been around and about, you know, I've been around the houses, girl. I know where I'm going, and I've visited places, not as a backpacker, but I've gone and like visited there for a bit, and then I've fucked off again. But ultimately, very and purely Arcturian through and through. And then you've got your starseed travelers, which, I mean, I don't know. I've not obviously delved into your Akashic records, and I don't know. I know you obviously delve in, and but I don't know if anyone else has read for you. But I personally see you as it just, and this is just from me, not from me going in anywhere. That you are not Earthseed, but you are very connected to Earthseed, more so than upstairs crew, let's say.
Yeah.
And but you are more of a traveler than I'm a visitor. You're more of a traveler. So you've been and experienced different civilizations within these, you know, upstairs. But ultimately you're more connected to Earth than you are upstairs. But you're here for a reason, that is because you are so connected to Earthseed, but you're not of Earthseed, if that makes sense. So you're here to show others that Earth is also a magical realm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll bring this around to the experience that I just had then. So I've got a friend who is just learning how to do Arcturian healing codes. And so she was like, "You want to be my guinea pig?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes." Sign me up. I'll always be the guinea pig for that stuff. And
But
so
you
she
see, my
went in.
I'm like this. I don't know who you're talking about, and I'm well skeptical. You see, I was like, I went, I did a face only because, and I just want to explain away my face because other people might pick up on the fact that I'm doing a face, right? Because
please explain your face.
although please explain your face.
Finally, I was like, please explain your face.
I was born this way. The reason, right? Please explain your microaggressions, right? Because my first instinct is to be skeptical, even though after all the what I just said, I'm still like, I don't know. I'm still really skeptical about everything. Also, if I don't know the person, I don't know who you're talking about right now. So I'm like, I'd be remiss of me to immediately go, oh yeah, right. And also I actually am very, very skeptical about anyone who talks about starseed in terms of light language, healing, coding, DNA coding, channeling the light council, blah 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 blah, because I think all right then.
So maybe we'll have her.
I'm also very open.
Yeah.
But
No, and you know what? You're not wrong too. It's good to have it's good to have healthy skepticism in these realms, because I mean we need to do an episode, maybe we'll write this down as a future episode, on spiritual psychosis, because that is a whole other thing that goes on, and there's so many people that are like, all of this stuff is real, and I'm like, what? Like there's talk about like galactic warfare and the white hats and the lizard people, and I do not give into that, and I do not buy into that. I'm like,
the point is critical thinking. All it is like, just have a little word with yourself and just go, don't just fucking go,
however,
sounds cool, believe in it. Like, unlike that, unless it's like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, I'm like,
which we're allowed.
There's definitely stuff in the spiritual realm that I do not like, in the spiritual community, not realm, in the spiritual community, that I do not believe in. Healthy skepticism is always good, and it's good to question. And the reason I was like, yeah, I'll have some of that, is the woman that I was receiving the healing from she is trained in the Akashic records. She was my first person to read my Akashic records. She trained me in the Akashic records, and she's a Reiki healer. So I've known her for a few years. This is not just I just met her off the street. She's like, I need to experiment.
Can I quickly say?
Yes.
This isn't me calling out anybody who who you trust or anything like that.
Yeah.
I am not.
I know.
And I'm certainly not right now telling people to decide, believe this or believe that. It's just, or, be skeptical about everything. It's just a case of making sure that you are protecting yourself against like getting suckered into things that, if it don't sit right, or am I just choosing to believe this because it's easier for me, or this or this. If you've got people in your world that you absolutely trust and for a fact they don't have an agenda or anything like that, then I do think, okay, like, give them X amount of trust as well. But nothing ever beats your own bullshit radar. And the other thing is, even if your bullshit radar is going woo 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 woo, doesn't mean that you're right. Sometimes, actually, because I'm like this, I'm just like, nah, it's bollocks. And actually other people are having fabulous experiences, and who am I to correct that? Like, I'm not.
No, you're 100% right.
Talking out, because it's not, because it doesn't benefit me or you or her for me to say that. I can go home with my own little thoughts. Like, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
And you get me.
And the reason I brought that up wasn't because I thought you were talking that bad about her. It was to show that there's a history there, and this is why I trust her, right? Because we just talked about having healthy skepticism, and this is why, when she's like, I've learned something new, she was like, do you want to be my guinea pig? I was like, yeah, because there is that level of trust. I've done readings before. Right. She's done healings for me. We have that relationship.
Yeah, sure.
Again, healthy skepticism and knowing who to trust. So she was like, do you want to try this Arcturian healing? And I was like, oh, sure. Like, let me get into that. Let me jump into that and let me see what that's like. And so we went into this deep meditative state for me. And I was my starseed. I went to my starseed family, Pleiadian. Are we surprised that I'm a Pleiadian?
Yeah, in fact, it's I fucking
The keepers of the book of knowledge. The ones who are like, we
honest
need
to
to learn.
God,
The
I'm
keepers
sorry.
of the great universe, like the universal library. Are we surprised that that's who I that is like knowing
Yeah,
who I am?
like the most humble fucking start. Sorry, we're the keepers of all the knowledge. Sorry, did we not just architect everything? Oh, deep apologies.
Look,
Deep apologies. Oh,
that. But if you know how much I love learning and I love books, then you're like,
I
it
know,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
It
You do know
totally makes
everyone else
sense.
is like, yeah, we know, you've told us. Cool, anyway, carry on. Fucking Pleiades.
So
Most of my friends are Pleiades as well. And that's what's so funny about it. It's just like I can freaking because I've not done your Akashic yet, but
I can't wait for you to do my
I'd
catching.
have
I
put
still gotta
money on
finish.
you. I'd have put money on you being Pleiades prior to me. I would never ever like just go.
And I met them again, the woman that taught me how to open my records, one of the first times I went in there on my own, they came to me and so I did that one on my own.
But
Not
isn't it funny? You're turning to us Arcturians for your fucking healing. All right, bitch.
yeah,
Continue.
because Arcturians are master healers.
And bringers of
I don't
knowledge.
know much about Arcturians. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
well, you
diving into
wouldn't, would
scriptures
you? You're
now.
just like using us for our healing powers. We are like, you are the ones who are like, okay, you're the fucking architect. But we're the ones that bring it. Like, so you're just like, oh, we do all this shit. And then Arcturians are like, yeah, but we're like actually bringing it to the people and doing the stuff with it.
Bring stuff to the
You
people.
are.
I'm gonna find stuff on
Oh
Pleiadians
yeah,
and
I
I'm
love
gonna be
this
like,
conversation. But you are no, but you are you. Pleiadians are very much teachers, you know, teachers, but like architects, teachers. Architects,
and
on the other hand,
the
are
thing
more
that I always wanted to do was teach. I'm working on a program to teach
right.
tarot and knowledge. Give me the books,
This
download the learning into my
explains.
brain.
This also explains our January, February Aquarius thing as well, actually, funnily enough.
Yes.
Because you are like, yeah, the bringers of the knowledge and the teachers and this and this. Arcturians are very much about it isn't about the teaching, it's about the learning, it's about the acceptance of self, and it's about the, you know, so which is very freaking uncanny considering all of the other
Who
things.
we are.
Dude, we haven't had this conversation, but it actually is very fucking relevant to everything else we've spoken about. Oh, we need to delve into this more. Okay, anyway, tell me more. Don't tell me more. I don't want to hear about your Arcturian. Don't use my people to help.
So anyway, I had this
Cultural
Arcturian knowledge
appropriation. Is that not cultural appropriation?
and I went to my starseed family, my Pleiadian starseed family.
I'm sure you're very lovely. I'm sure you do a nice
And
road.
I just sat there in front of them and just cried. And I was like, just take me out of here. Just
Yeah.
take me. I'm done. I'm done. This place is harsh and it's hard. And the other thing about Pleiadians is they might as well be modern hippies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also me. They're all about like, let's just be friends, let's hug it out, let's have peace and love. And
Yeah.
I am on board with
Idealist.
all of that. And I'm just like, there's no peace here. There's so little love. It's so hard to feel it. Like I can't like I feel like wherever I was before, I love with like you could almost like touch it and it was in the air and you could be like, yeah. And
First
here there's none
time,
of that.
the first time I went and actually visited my lot, it was horrible. I would say it was horrible. It was just I felt like I didn't I just I oh no, let me be real fucking honest. It made me feel suicidal because I was just like, I don't want to come back from this. Like that, I know, and the whole thing was, yeah, but you have to. You agreed.
That's the same thing I got.
And then, but the difference between again with you I know we're sort of pronouncing it differently, but I'm like Pleiadian, I would say like a dinosaur. You plesiosaurs. Pleiadian, well, I don't even know if I can say it anymore. And Arcturians is you will have that feeling, and it's that God, you orchestrated shit. And now you're like, what is going on? Because this should be working. Now we need to go and actually implement this. We need to teach people. We need people to understand this. And you've got like this purpose and this resilience. And Arcturians, we're just like, we need to deliver it in a way that actually serves the individual. So it's flipped. It's not like think about community. It's like, no, the more you serve yourself, the more you serve others. And it's like, the more you teach yourself self-love, the more you are capable of loving others. So it's like it's the same agenda. It's just we've flipped it, which is so strange because me and you are like that in so many ways. But there is
We're meant to be.
when I first met my you know my spirit team years ago, when it was so peculiar, and I was just like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, I recognize everyone apart from that dude over there. And then I've got to, and I can't even explain how to pronounce the name of this. So I'm gonna sound really weird if I say it, but it's like it's I can't even say the word, but it goes over and over in my head all the time. It's like it's like that's the noise. That's the name of this, whoever he or she or they are, part of my spirit team, and that's my upstairs crew. And I know that it's so weird saying that out loud, because I haven't said that out loud ever, I don't think, apart from to myself. And it's it's really it feels very obscure at times, because you feel like almost a bit fucking ridiculous actually talking about it. But what I object to, so I'm sorry, I'm already negating, and I'm not being rude against your friend, and I'm sure you've had a lovely experience. But what I object to is somebody else tapping into these different elements of these different starseed families and soul groups, etc., and saying that now we can help you with this and this and this, and it's like, no, I do not believe that's how it works. I do not believe that's how it works. I believe in the power of the collective, consciousness and everything else. But I believe we are here as individuals. I don't believe that one person in a room or in a thing or over a fucking computer or this can say, right, I'm gonna recode your DNA, or I'm gonna deliver you healing from this fucking upstairs family or this next door family or this downstairs family. No, mate, I don't think that you have the capacity. I don't believe that anybody on this planet, that's some Jesus Christ shit. I don't believe anybody on this planet is that much of a conduit themselves to be able to then deliver that unto another. I believe we can have it, we can receive it unto ourselves by tapping into that direct source. But I don't believe that anyone else can act as a conduit like that, because I believe that, perhaps an activation, perhaps there's going to be like moment, or somebody can like open the fucking curtains for you or bring you into that realm or something. But for them to deliver as a conduit that healing, I mean, because it smacks of it, just for me, I just don't it smacks of utter bullshit. You are not channeling the council of fucking light. You're not having a word with the fucking bloody chancellor of the exchequer and the fucking this bollocks. What are you talking about? You, out of what, 8 billion people on this planet? I don't think so, darling. Fucking know yourself. You are capable of what you do, and you are capable of emitting the beauty that you emit into the world. Don't over fucking play your hand, because it actually does a disservice to all of us. It does a disservice. It's like a preacher standing up and saying, the power of the Lord and the word of Christ is coming through me, and I'm delivering that. Are ya? When I can sit at home, say you were Christian and you're at home and you're peaceful on your own and you're having conversation with Christ, I don't believe that, right? But for you, that's potent, that's powerful, that's yours. Somebody else delivering that to you, is that not deference? Is that not deferring your power to another? Oh, I'm able to heal this. Like, I know you learned from this person. Sorry, I'm really going off on one, but I know you learned from this person. I learned from somebody else. But like the whole aspect of like, you know, the way that I see the Akashic records, I can't go in and fucking fiddle around with your shit, and I can't go in without your permission. I can, but I won't. Ethically, I will not. But I'm not going to go and fiddle around and say, oh, right, you're all sorted now because I adjusted a few bits over here and you're all right now, mate. No, that's not on me. That's on you. No one else gets to decide your future, your past, your current, your history, your future, every fucking thing that goes on. No one. If you allow the idea that somebody else can fuck with that shit on your behalf, you're never ever gonna have autonomy ever again in your life. So I refuse. That's what my refusal of belief is, purely based on that premise that if I say to you, yeah, Heidi, pop in my Akashic records and sort out my childhood for me, and you pop back and go, yeah, sorted, Lou, then how am I ever going to be responsible for anything else that happens to me in my entire life? Nah, I refuse to allow that to be a possibility in my...
For me, I don't think it's so much of they can go in and fix everything. I'm very much in,
No,
and
and
this is why,
I'm
I mean,
over
because I know how to open records, I could read records, but it's why records has never appealed to me to dive into, and I'm more of a tarot person, is because it doesn't, for me, you could have some sort of wounding in this life, a past life, a future life, whatever, because we know how time works. Um, but what matters is the here and now and what you can do about it in the here and now.
But the beauty of what you do, Heidi, is that you direct and guide people towards the areas in which they themselves need to uncover and heal themselves.
Yes.
You don't say, hang on a
However,
minute, I can
let me
see
get
this part of you needs healing, so let me just pop in there and whack a fucking you know,
okay,
let me
get there. Let me get to where the point I was gonna make.
sorry,
Let
you
me
know,
get
sorry, I
there.
get so angry.
I know. That's why I was like, I know you. I know enough to be like, then I will continue. That's what I do, and this is why I don't really read in the records now. Does that mean I don't think there's any, because I've had an Akashic healing as well? Does that mean do I believe that they can go in there and fix everything for me? No. Do I think that there is a way to help ease the process or open you up to a little more healing, a little more areas you need to work in and heal through? Absolutely. Do I believe that they can deliver pure love? Absolutely. And so that's why I will do things like this.
And I absolutely am not saying that I'm right and this person's wrong. I don't fucking know. But all
I
I'm
know.
saying is I don't like how it's I don't like how it's set up. I don't like how it's articulated. I would, you know, I wouldn't walk around saying I'm a healer. I know that you, when you're with me, if you know there's certain encounters that we can have together and you will have a healing experience. I'm not going to say I'm a fucking healer. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, because I am not a healer. You are your own healer. I've just facilitated your healing.
Yeah, and that's what I think
So
that
perhaps it's semantics, but it fucks me off, especially. And I think this is just because I'm being a little bit like, it's a bit like someone slagging off your mum. I'm like, don't you fucking start talking about my Arcturians. Like, hey, leave it out, because that's not what we're here for. We're not here to heal you. We are here to heal ourselves and show ourselves love in order to spread that outwardly. We are not here to serve you. We are here to serve ourselves in order for you to serve yourself. And that's why I disagree with the premise of Arcturian healing.
that's fine. I'm just saying that she was just like, you want to try? And I was like,
I bet it was
sure.
wonderful though, wasn't it? I bet it was a beautiful
It
experience.
was, yeah, it was, it It was a ride. Like I just sat there, like my Pleiadian. This is not the first time I interacted with my starseed family and the Pleiadians, and I can just, like I said, I was just crying, and I was like, "Take me away from here!" And they're like, "No."
Sweet
And
home,
then I went into the Fey realm and walked through a big freaking bog, the kind with with mud that was so thick. It was, if I would have been wearing boots, I would have pulled my freaking boots off. Went up, I got to the end of this bog, went up, there was these stairs. And when I say they were huge stairs, I don't mean like Mayan huge going
I
upstairs.
think
I
you
mean
mean
they were
like,
meant for people like
yeah,
twice my leg height.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
felt like I was a child, like I felt like I was a toddler climbing up them. I
No,
got to the
what that
top,
is, that's the whole like Prometheus like thing.
got to the top. There's a bridge. When I was going over this bridge and I looked down at this huge river, but the river, you could hear the water rushing and flowing, but it was the night sky. It was nothing but like stars. And I was like, oh, like, this is the place I belong. Like I was just like, this is the place. And I was just sat there. And then the little fairy guy came over because I was looking for I have a
You
fey guy
punch
named
him.
Alahan. No, I didn't punch him. I wanted to though, because he was like, you can't stay here. And I was like, what? And he was like, you can't stay here. And I was like, I don't come this far into the Fey realm without Allahan by my side for a freaking reason. He's not here. And he's like, you have to keep going. You have to keep going. I'm like, fuck you. So I get to the other side of the bridge, have to climb down, go down on my butt, these huge stairs. And then I start going through like this. And I mean, this forest was like, or jungle or something was like just so thick. Like it was like, I was getting scratches across my forehead. I was like getting, like my clothes were getting caught on the vines and the trees. And then the healing was over. So that was my whole entire healing journey in like 2 minutes.
Well, it sounds a little bit like the soul journey thing that I took you on.
My soul journeys and healings are always intense. Maybe one day
Yeah.
I'll tell you about my Akashic journey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm desperate to hear. But yeah, so
They're
I
always, I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, why am I healing? It's even traumatic. I have enough trauma in my life.
what the fuck, man?
I'm just okay. I'm not okay. But that cemented this, and so I've been thinking about that a lot this week because it cemented this that I am not of this world. Like I'm not supposed to be here. This is not my home. Planet Earth is not my home, and I'm not supposed to be here.
No, but you are. You are meant to be here.
I'm meant to be here, but you know what you know that feeling
Yes,
of
I do know what you mean from a different
yes.
angle, but 100%. And
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that is a recurring theme amongst people, especially in the last, I would say, decade. I've had people say, listen, everyone goes through that thing like, oh, I don't fucking belong here, right? But then you do occasionally stumble across people who are like, you can see it before they even say it themselves, don't belong here, babs. And there's definitely more prevalence, I think, with people acknowledging or recognizing that this isn't their natural realm. And
Mhm.
there's this thing, there's this urge to understand, well, where do I belong then? And then once you understand that, it's like, okay, so now why am I here? And that really is that connection that, okay, like I don't belong here.
That's what I'm working
Okay,
on.
where do I belong? And then, okay, cool, now I know where I belong. Now why am I here? Why have I, because let's be fair, we all decided, right? No one made this decision for you. You decided this yourself. And so it's up to you to then fathom for yourself what you're here for. And
Mhm.
I know my purpose and my God bloody bastard arsehole thing, that the one thing to stop me from coming back again and again and again, because I'm done, right? And every time I'm like, I'm done, and it's like, yeah, but I know now what I need to not do in order to not come back another time, and I know that now, and that's cool, and I'm cool with that.
I'm still working on that over here, but that's okay. And sometimes we will find out in this lifetime, sometimes we won't.
And
But
sometimes you won't. But having an
yeah.
awareness of it, I think, is the important thing, and allowing
Mhm.
their own awareness of it. And even though I was saying what I was saying there, I just want to say that I'm 100% not criticizing anybody else in their beliefs or their abilities or anything else, because all I'm doing is we are not able at this stage to state any of our beliefs or opinions as fact. So me saying, oh, I think this and I think that, is not to the detriment of the other person. This is just Lou fucking chatting, right? So your friend who's done all of this, I'm not saying that she's wrong. I'm assuming it's she. I'm not saying that she's incorrect. I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm not telling anyone to disregard that. I'm not telling anyone to, do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I do believe that in our it's important for us to have our own experiences, and then within those experiences we gain a sense of belief, and then we gain a sense of knowledge and a sense of knowing within we know to be true or not. And therefore what happens is we're gonna disagree a lot, but that doesn't mean that you're right and I'm wrong, or vice versa. It just means, why don't we disagree then? Never mind, let's move on.
The number of times that we've had conversations, I think with today more than ever, especially with what we brought up about Arcturian and Pleiadians and how you see things versus how I see things, and your purpose versus mine. I really feel like you and I, one, obviously we were meant to be. Two, you and I are two sides of the same coin, right? We're the opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah, we have been for since we first met. We've always been the it's every time we talk about the snow and Regina, every time we send each other memes about January and February Aquarians.
You like that one?
I know. Do you know what happened earlier on? I was about to send it to you, and then I was like, I bet she's fucking sent this to me. And then I looked, I was like, she fucking has. Because I was like, what?
For those that are wondering, I said Lou, we're both Aquarius. She's February, I'm January, and it was like the old show Riverdale, and it was like Betty was sitting there and it was like, January Aquarius looks cute. We'll eat your soul.
No,
like,
looks cute, we'll rip you to shreds. And then February Aquarius was like, looks evil, but we'll love and nurture you or something. And I was like, that's me. Yeah.
You had a reading with me, it's 100%.
It made me laugh so much. But this is the thing. This is the thing that's so important, that me and you, I think, this is, I mean, I rate us because we're both awesome. But one of the reasons I rate us is because we have the capacity to have these conversations where we absolutely disagree. But that doesn't mean to say we're not the yin and the yang within the yin and the yang. Like there is a light, the dark, and the dark within the light. And there's always a necessity to have that harmony and that beautiful dance, that chaotic dance between the two.
Yeah.
And people are so hell bent on being one or the other. And I think what you and I do is just, I mean, both of us, I think, represent an extreme of the one or the other at times, but we are both within each other, outside of each other, within each other. There are so many qualities that you exhibit that I admire and that I envy. And I'm like, oh, if only I could be like Heidi in this moment. And then I think, but I can't be like that, because it's.
I'm doing the same over here, going, oh God, I can be more like Lou in this moment.
But we are of each other. And it's just whichever one of those qualities is the most predominant within each other. Yeah. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think that, that's the thing that people need to remember about themselves, is that we can all be everything. We can all be everything. We don't have to be this or that. It isn't black or white. It's not this or that.
Yeah.
It's multicolored bits in between that we all encompass.
And if you are looking for answers on how to deal with those feelings of not belonging, I don't know if we really have an answer, because we still struggle with that too. What I try to do when that feeling hits me hard is try to ground myself in the here and now, what I feel like I do belong with. My tarot, my occult practices.
Good point, actually. What do you do when sorry, I was going to go into like a childhood song that's really, really not funny. I can't even remember what it is, but it's about to come out. I always feel like I don't belong, and then I get like real sad about it, and then I get really angry sad about it, and then I like turn into a proper drama queen on my own. Like, I'm crazy. about it, and then I sort of chill out and I think, oh God, you're ridiculous, Louise, because what are we in the grand scheme of things? Speck of fucking dust. We're so
Yeah, for me, it's I try to ground myself in the practices that I feel I see myself the most in. So for me, it's tarot. For me, it's tarot. Maybe it's reading a book for somebody else. Maybe they love crocheting and knitting, and that's what grounds them into the. I don't know. I'm pulling things out of my ass here.
Sorry, you're being really.
Maybe they love the Pythagorean theorem, which is actually.
Don't we all? Don't we all love the Pythagorean theorem? The Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagorean theorem.
I like triangles, right? I like triangles. Particularly the Bermuda one. That's quite interesting. Pythagorean theorem. Yes, Louise, nailed it. Number one.
Like, right. Okay. So that's kind of how I deal with.
I hadn't even finished. You started talking like fucking over me, bitch. And now I've forgotten what I was going to say. But it was
well, like cool. You fucking always talk over me, so deal with it.
That's not curing and healing, actually. Listening to me.
So, if you guys know your starseed family, if you're comfortable enough, feel free to share them in the comments before. Let's talk about it. If you feel like you don't belong, welcome to the club of those who do not belong. Let us know. We'll start our own little club of not belonging to feel like we belong for 2 seconds, only to have the existential crisis of not belonging again.
I do want to just feel really high pitched here. I would like to mention, shout out actual earth seeds, because I feel really bad for earth seeds because they're just like, well, I do belong. I don't know, fucking all you lot going around going, I don't belong, and earth seeds are like, I'm all right, and we're all like, why? Why are you okay with the world? Don't you want more? And the pressure that I think that we put on people that are actually content, I think is gross. I think it's horrid that we're like, but don't you?
Oh, that's a whole episode of how the world,
you know, in a more deep, and they're like, nah, man, I'm good.
That's a whole other episode on like socio-economic political marketing of keeping us in the status quo. And
I'm literally Earthseed. I'm literally just talking Earthseed. And also, you know, I envy Earthseed. I feel sad for Earthseed though, because they're just like, oh great, cheers. I've been born right at the last minute of the fuck up, like the apocalypse, like, you know, the earth's gonna go.
Earth seeds, if you've gone to another planet and you feel like you don't belong.
No, they're just here weeping, crying over how fucked this planet is. The rest of us are like, don't matter, I won't be here long anyway, bye. Earth seeds are just like, nah, man, I really want to heal the world. And it's like, yeah, it's too late, bitch. And I feel bad.
And maybe that's why I struggle, because it's like, I feel like I don't belong here, but I also want to heal the world. I wanted to kind of both.
Me too. But also, but there'll be another one, and another one, and another one, and another. So, there's been multiple before. There'll be multiple after.
If this, go ahead.
It is, and it is, and it isn't, and it is always, and it's never, and that's how it is.
And if that made sense for you, please like this episode, which you just said made sense to you.
Share with your boomer parents.
Share it, yeah. Share with the woo kids.
Earthseed, star.
Subscribe.
So starseed, we want Earthseeds. We want Pleiad. I can't fucking say it.
Pleiadians.
Pleiadians. We want
Pleiadians. We want Arcturians.
We want
Arcturians. If you are an Arcturian healer, especially, I would love to hear from you.
You fucking heal yourself, bitch.
It'll work, okay?
Yeah, what else is there? Lyrans. I want to say, no, I really want to launch into, you remember that Michael Jackson song, I love you, Liberian girl. You know that one? My brother used to sing Librarian Girl. Librarian girl, you know that you came and you changed my world.
I wanted to be a librarian at one point in my life. Just because
Librarian girl. It's like
because I just wanted to be surrounded by books.
Lyrian. And then there's also the other ones who are like not even a thing, who we'll talk about that another day, the ones that aren't even a thing. And then yes, there's plenty in between. Actually, I would say what's her name? Rebecca motherfucker.
Campbell?
No, I will
Rebecca Campbell?
I put the link in the description.
Okay.
Rebecca Campbell is what? What are you laughing?
You said Rebecca, and I said Rebecca Campbell, and you said no. And then you're like, I'm gonna put the link in the description.
Rebecca. Wow, you totally subliminaled me there. Yeah, so yes, her, yeah. Shut up.
I have her work the light deck. I want to read her books.
Hit you with my Arcturian healing, Heidi.
Oh, I've got to read her books. I've got her work the light deck, but I would like to get her. I should read her some Starseed book.
I'm not gonna. We'll talk about this when we're not recording.
Okay.
And sometimes, but you know, we'll talk about it out loud another day. But yes, I want to see some. I'm hoping this one actually does provoke some fucking comments because it's interesting, though, isn't it? It's interesting. It's really fascinating, and none of us know. That we can say we know what we know, but we don't know jack shit. None of us know fuck all. And I, for one, am really grateful that I know nothing, because how wonderful is it to know nothing at all.
And from nothing comes everything. And we're back on tarot. All right, everybody. Have yourselves a beautiful day.
Have yourself.
If I don't cut this off, she's going to go on.
Seed. I will give you some Arcturian healing. Bye. I don't know where the finish recording button is. Stop.